Greetings there, ladies and gentlemen. I'm James Burgess, and I'd like to welcome you back to The Legend of Zelda II, The Adventures of Link, or Zelda II, Adventures of Link. I keep on... That's what the Japanese version is called, but anyway, it's called Link's Adventures, but nevertheless, I'll get into that soon enough. So here we are at the first palace. Awesome. I do like the structure of the first palace. It's very castle-like, I have to say. So we go to the elevator at usually the entrance, and we can go up and down. So we go down into the castle, or the palace itself, and we deal with these guys, which I can't remember what they're called, but as you can see, they're like moblins. They do not give us any points, experience points, but they do take off 10 points if you get hit. And actually, if you actually look at their swords, they actually have blood on them, which means this is like one of the first games with blood I actually played for, I don't know, just random facts. Anyway, we need to head left before we head right because we got a locked door. And let's take care of these bots. Now, bots are kind of interesting because you got outside bots and you got palaces bots. The outside bots are weaker than the palace bots. The palace bots are a little stronger than the ones, even though they're basically the same. And here we have a Stelphos, a, typical Zelda enemy. So obviously we can block his shield, or his sword with our shield. And we can't really go through his shield, but we can hit his legs. So let's hit his legs. And there we are, we got 30 points for it. Awesome. But do warn, if you actually hit his legs, you leave your head vulnerable, so you got some... So if something hits your head, you'll take a hit. Which actually I should mention shields. I haven't mentioned the shield. Once pretty much in the upright position, your standard position, you're shielded on top and not the bottom. Your legs are exposed, so something along the floor... This is only mainly for projectiles or weaponry. Certain weaponry, because there's some weaponry that goes right through your shield you cannot block. But mainly your shield currently can block rocks and swords. Actually swords. And I'm not too sure what else, but I'll mention if you can block it with or not. And if you crouch, your lower half is actually shielded while your head is exposed, so just kind of a pointer there. And obviously if something runs into you like a bot, you can't block it, basically. So just saying there. And these guys will just mow through you too, so... But they're pretty easy. They can actually get killed by sword beams. Because not all things get killed by sword beams. I just want to mainly clearly say that. Sword beams are not severely overpowered like they are in the first one. And there we are, the key door, which we just go up to it, and the key is automatically used. And there we have a magic bubble, which we can kill, but at attack level 1, it's going to take forever to kill, so I recommend not actually even dealing with them unless you have a lot of patience and time. But we'll encounter them a little bit later, and I'll talk about them later. So let's get rid of the Stelphos. Now we have an elevator here, which I'm going to pass up and continue to the right. We have another Stelphos. And we shall continue to the right. And here we can actually get this, and we can keep on hitting this thing, but it's going to take a lot of hits, but we can actually stun lock them, and we can go through them, which will be very helpful in a room coming up. Let's get that Stelphos. Okay, so here we are at a four-way. We can go to the right, we can go up, and we can go down. Now, going down will lead to the end of the palace, while going right will lead to some goodies, which we will not deal with right now. But we need to go up for some keys, so let's go up. Alright, let's go here, and we got a couple of these guys. I still can't remember their name. A Of course, I will be putting up all the enemies on screen with their names and possibly their pixelated form or their artwork, which I would say the artwork in this is pretty good, actually. So here we are, and I totally forgot how to pick up the items. You mainly just use your sword on it, and you pick up the item. Mainly keys. So we're going to continue to the right and continue on, which I'd say eluded me when I first played this game, because when I saw the key, I'm like, okay, I'm going to head back. But there's more room. Unless you basically hit a wall, you can probably still continue going. Now we have this guy who's throwing maces, and we got to time it so we can actually go through it without getting hit. Or we take the hit and go through. Now here we can actually use our sword beam, so we can't hit him from afar, so we got to get up close and personal. Here we are. And we got hit. So once we get hit, our sword beams are gone. But nevertheless, we got a life level, which means if we get that level, our life is at full. Awesome. So we'll get this key. And also, some statues will yield magic jars, usually red magic jars. So let's use... Oh yeah, we got magic level 2. When did we get that? Oh yeah, way back in the last episode. So we got magic level 2. Our shield spell has decreased in points. So we can actually, instead of costing 2 bars, it's about 1.5 now. So let's see that. See, we got about 1.5. Let's use it again. To actually use magic more than once in like the screen, you're going to have to go back into your menu and actually select again, and then we can actually use it again. There we go. We only have 1 bar, so if we try to use magic again, we can't do anything. But I want to show that the red magic jars do fully recharge your life, or recharge your magic, sorry, not life, magic. And there we are. So it is a good key thing for a certain spell coming up, that if you have that spell, you use it, and then you get your red magic jar. Okay, let us go here and here. And I do have to say, the guys with the swords, they will respawn, while the bots also will respawn, while bigger enemies like Stelphos and other enemies will not respawn. Just saying, unless you actually go out of the palace, or the area you're in right now. Now, I'm in a palace, so this palace counts as one big area. So if I go out of the palace, come back in the palace, all those Stelphos that I killed will return, while if I go back to those areas now, without going out, they won't be there. So you can't actually farm for points that way, but still. Anyway. Let's get here, kill that thing, and go through it. Remember, blue magic jars will restore 1 unit of magic. I just manually want to point that out. We're going to go back here, which I totally mentioned. We have to go back to the left, go down the elevator I passed. I don't think there's anything here, nope. Okay, here's the room that I was talking about with the bubbles, and you will need to stun lock them to get through, or kill them. We got a fast one here, which we can actually just go off the screen, which is good. Let's see if we can get here. Excellent. And we go by here without getting a scratch on us and get hit by a blob in the next room. Fantastic. Awesome. Okay. That was my own doing, but I do have to say the blue bots are one of the most hated enemies I hate in this game. Just saying. Now this bridge will disintegrate while we go on it, so we have to be very quickly. We have to be quick. So we got it here, we grab it, and then I always jump to make sure that I don't jump or have nothing. Oh, come on. Come on. Okay. Alright, so I'm just going to continue running. Hopefully I don't get hit by the maces, and usually I do. So we're going to just continue hitting them. And again, I don't remember these guys' names, but they're like Hammer Brothers, basically. They're the Hammer Brother. Oh, we got a red magic jar. So he's a stronger enemy, so he will drop a red magic jar or a 200-point P-bag. Just pointing that out. So I'm actually going to use my shield spell and get the red magic jar, because we have a new enemy, which is the Iron Knuckle. which is basically a really version of, I guess, you, somewhat. So he can block high and low, and he can also attack high and low, so you gotta kind of go through it and see if you can hit him. Which I do have to say, the gold ones, or the yellow ones, or the orange ones will be a little bit more easier to kill, let's just say, while the other ones are next couple shades are not, let's just say. But here we have our first item, or the item of the palace, and that's our candle. Awesome. Now, there's a lot of questions, especially blind Let's Plays of this, is how do you use items once you get them? So let's go up, bring our menu up, and you can see that we have our candle. So we can't really select it because, well, we only select magic spells in this. Items in this are usually automatically used. So we can actually burn things in this with the candle, like the first one. It's automatically used to brighten up caves, and that's basically what the candle's used for. And certain items, most of the items, will be able to be used automatically, if not on the like on the overworld screen by pressing a certain button. So we don't actually use pretty much any kind of items currently in the actual, I guess, battle screen. We only use our basically sword and our jump abilities. Alright, and we got a blue magic jar. Now you can actually kind of be a little bit lazy on here until it basically, unless you have basically nothing under you, you can actually run across it. Alright, blue bot. I will always try to kill basically anything except for bubbles at this point, at this stage in time. Maybe later on, but right now, no. Alright, and there you just pretty much avoid them. They're a good way to avoid. And if you need to hit them, stun lock them and go through it. Alright, and the word stun lock is basically you hit them and they kind of just get stunned and you can go through them. Okay, so here we are at that four-way again. So let's go to the right. Like I said, there was goodies here, and we have one fairy. Fairy will completely restore your life. They're kind of scarce, and they can also be encountered on the world map also. So let's get life. We get full life. That's why I left the fairy until now. If you're low in life, pretty much anywhere, know that fairy's there. You can always go there and actually get it. And once you get it, it's not going to be there until you leave the dungeon and come back, basically. So, just saying. So let's go down, because we need to complete the palace. Now, we have an iron knuckle coming here. We can do it the same way that I did in the previous one, but I'm going to show you a way you can actually kill an iron knuckle by a little bit easier. It's an easier method. We jump and we basically press the attack button just before we land. And we actually get our first attack level up. Awesome, so let's get that. We got attack level 2, which doesn't mean that we're twice as powerful, it means that we're just a little bit stronger than we were. So enemies that took 2 hits take 1 hit, for the most part, and so forth. So let's go here, we got a couple Stelphos we gotta deal with. So like I said, with the iron knuckles, you pretty much just jump, and just before you land, you use your weapon. And we're talking a standing jump and not a crouch. A crouch one. A crouch one will not work. You gotta jump and just use your sword normally. Alright, more Stelphos. Let's continue on. We got a guy, a mace flinger, I guess. And we will get these guys. These guys will not be pretty much anywhere else out. I think they just appear in here. Actually, the first one. I do have to say I kind of like the atmosphere, like with the red in the outside. Just NES atmosphere. Let's here, and watch out obviously for his blade. Oh, thanks for that. If you get obviously a magic jar, you do not get the points for that the guy you destroyed. which I kind of wanted the points, but nevertheless, going on. Okay, so if we encounter a place where you see curtains, like we did in the first like the actual northern house where we started, this means that we're going to be encountering the boss of the actual palace. Now this is going to be Horsehead. And Horsehead, we can't actually hit his body because it's shielded. And he does have a mace, so we got to watch out. And we got his head, and that crouch jump stab I was talking about is perfect for that, because if you actually use a regular jump stab, you're going to go over his head. And if you do a crouch jump stab, you're going to do it excellent. Sometimes you might hit his armor, that's the only thing, so kind of go at the peak of your jump and hit him in the head, and you should have no problem. And for beating a boss, you always get a key, always, which will open pretty much the door that you need to get into the statue room. We turn the crystal to the statue, and on top of that, we also get full life and full magic if you're not, and we also get a level. So if you can somehow get a level just before the boss, or just... because when you beat a boss, you actually get points. If you get that points and you level from that boss, you'll get almost a free level from actually getting... putting the crystal in the statue, which is fantastic. So let's get our magic level, which is fantastic. And let us continue. So we can actually go backtrack all the way through the dungeon, but we don't have to. We can actually go through here, and here we are. Fantastic. Okay, so I need to point out a few things. One, as you can tell, the palace has turned into a mountain, so we can't actually go on it anymore. This will only happen if you do two things. One, beat the boss and recover the statue, put the crystal in the statue, and get the item also. If you just do one of them, if you beat the boss and put the crystal in the statue, it will not turn into a mountain. You need to get the item also, and vice versa. If you get the item and you don't beat the boss, obviously you do not. It is not turns into a mountain. Just want to point that out, just in case people are like, "Oh my God, I killed the boss, I did the statue, but I couldn't find the item." Don't worry, it's not. You can still go back in there and find the item. Simple as that. Okay, so let's continue. Oh my goodness. Rocks everywhere. Okay. Let's go back in here, and we have a pleasant surprise. We can see the background, we can see all around, and that's because of our candle. All right, so we can actually see that enemy that we killed before. Awesome. It'd be good if I actually hit the right, way. Just saying. Anyway, it's good, and we're gonna go through the forest, through the plains, to Grandma House we go. Okay, we're actually gonna go south. South of the starting point to this cave right here. And we have a couple guys. Now, I do have to say, this cave is quite easy if you know where the enemy placement is, and you can come here in the dark. But if you don't know where the enemy placement is, I would say wait until you get the candle. Now, we have a couple Octoroks, and we can actually block their rocks with our shield. And here we are. Now, this here, you're wondering, oh, obviously it's magic related. What is it? It's a magic container, so we increase our magic. There we are. Just like a heart container. There we go. And I do have to say, the most you can get is 4 heart containers and 4 magic containers, so do keep an eye out for them. Alrighty. Let us head north. We're going to run into a couple of enemies on the way. And nah, we'll leave that. I usually get them, but I'm like, if I have full magic, I really don't need them, so... But sometimes the habit of just getting them, so... Let us go to this cave up here north. Now, we have an ache, which we have to watch out for, because we got lava. And lava and any kind of flying enemy, or projectiles, are bad news. Wait for the Octorok to basically shoot, and then go, because if not, we might get hit and get knocked back into the lava. And, let us go here, we got a Goriah, or Jiraiya, whatever you want to call it. And the boomerangs will come back, so you can actually just block it. And what is this, you might ask? Well, we're going to find out, but I want to come here mainly because it was on the way to the next town, and we need this for the next town, so let's get it. Whatever it is, it's like an angel statue of some sort. Alright. Do watch your footing, because you might actually get in, you might want to jump and then fall into the lava because you might go into... It just does happen, so just watch out. And like I said, aches respawn. And let us continue. We got flying rocks. Alright, let's go along this path and continue on to the next town, which we have time. Awesome. And here we are. Let us see what the town is called. The town of Ruto, which is the Zora princess from Ocarina of Time. Awesome. Here we are. It is not a water town, unfortunately. It is just a regular town. And like I said, we don't have full life, so let us talk to this young lady here, who will restore life in possibly questionable fashion, but nevertheless, our life is full. Okay, so let us use our shield spell. So our magic is not full. Now, let us talk to this lady. Stop and rest here. So let's go in here. I can give you magic. Come back anytime. Sorry, I just know what she's going to say. And our magic is full. Now, this is what I often think. This is kind of just going in a personal thing. Is that everyone goes on about the young lady that restores your life. And, you know, obviously the questionable stuff she might actually do in there. But no one mentions the old lady. You do pretty much the same thing, but no one's like, oh, well, you're going in with an old lady, and, you know, is there questionable stuff that goes in there? I just want to mainly point that out, that's all. But let's go in here. And, oh my god, could this be? Could it be? It is. I am Error. Now, the thing is, if you know Zelda 2 in pretty much any kind of fashion, you would probably know this. You would know I am Error. The actual thing is that he actually does come and play, or could come and play, later on to find out how to get to the third palace, which we will be coming back to talk to him for that, just to point that out. It's not just, oh, well, it's just I am Error, that's all. Okay, what are you in a big hurry, buddy? Find magic in cave south of the castle, which is our magic container that we found. Gives us a clue. It's like there's clues in the game, just very cryptic, like, you know, traditional NES fashion. So we got a woman that came out of the house, so let's see what she actually needs to say. You save the trophy. Come see my uncle. So that was a trophy we found in that cave, and we needed to actually go in the house, because if we didn't have it, each town has a wise man, but the thing is, after the first one, you need to actually find an item to get in the place to see the wise man. And that's pretty much what needs to happen after the first town. So let's see what the spell we get now. With this, you can jump very high. Awesome. And it's a jump spell. Awesome. So it is two units. So let's see. Like I said, we jump about 2. So a good thing is the Seer Sword. There's like one there and one there. So we can jump about 2 units high. So we can jump about there. So let's use the jump spell. Just 2 units, and we can jump about a solid, like, 4. Yeah, that's about 4. Like 4 blocks high, which is great. Maybe 5 if you can, like, time it pretty well. You can jump maybe 5 heights, which I'll get into a little bit later on with the jump kind of mechanics in this. If you can jump, You can time your jump. You can go with a regular jump of 3 and a high jump of like 5, just to point it out there. But you need to be timing it very well. Okay, let's go in here. Oh, let's see what this... use keys and palaces they are found in. Why, thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, so let us continue. Oh, and what do you need to say? Do not go south without a candle. Which I do have to say that is a very sound advice, because we're going to go into a series of caves to the south. So let us go south, because we do have a candle. And let's go right here, and we're going to stop here, because if I get into more of this, we will be going into the next part of the area. This is what I call the first tier. We're going into the second tier, where we encounter new monsters, new towns, and new palaces. Awesome. So, I hope you guys are thoroughly enjoying this. If not, somewhat enjoying it, or it's like, oh, well, that's kind of been informative. But anyway, I'll see you guys next time on Zelda II, The Adventures of Link. I hope you guys are having a good time. I'll see you guys next time. Take care.